Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Here's another dose of your Monday mentality. I hope everyone had a great weekend. And even if you had a tough weekend, it's over now and we're starting a fresh week. I'm really excited to talk to you guys this morning, just really projecting what the week is going to be like and doing a really quick recap in the sports weekend and talking about how we can relate what happened in sports over the weekend to what may be going on in your life right now. For example, everyone was watching the Golden State Warriors take on the Portland Trailblazers, and what boy, they're up 3 games to 0 right now. And I got a good friend who goes by Jack Tripper on social media with my good friend Dinez Richardson. We play a lot of basketball together. He's a huge Golden State fan, probably the biggest Golden State fan in the Midwest. And I get it now, Nez. I know why you like Golden State so much, because they are will breakers. They break the will of other players. I really believe that in the mindset of the Portland Trailblazers going up against the Golden State Warriors, that they realize that no matter how big their lead gets, no matter how big it gets, 15 point, 20 points, the Golden State Warriors, with their experience and their offensive firepower, can always get back in the game. And in this case, the game that we all witnessed on Saturday, we saw Draymond Green with a tremendous effort to get them back. And I think that broke the will of the Portland Trailblazers, even at home. They're saying no matter what we do, these guys can always come back and do something. So the question is, are you a will breaker, or do you have a will that won't be broken? Are you a will breaker, or do you have a will that won't be broken? Do you believe that title is yours? I think the Golden State Warriors in their mind believe the title is theirs, and someone like the Portland Trailblazers don't have that understanding. And maybe that comes with time, maybe that comes with experience, but it really comes down to really knowing what you want, and no matter what happens, fighting to get that. Because even when the Portland Trailblazers played the Golden State Warriors, every game they competed. They were in the game, if not being up at one point. And in my view, if you can be up in a game, you can win a game. But I think there was a more of a mental exchange that these individuals were just will breakers, and we saw that with the Golden State Warriors. So the question, are you a will breaker, or will your will not be broken? Then we can move on to the next game, the Eastern Conference Final game that was last night. Some of you guys may have been sleep watching that. The Toronto Raptors went into 2 overtimes against the Milwaukee Bucks. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is probably going to be the MVP or a finalist for the MVP now. He ended up fouling out of the game, only scored 12 points. So their star player didn't step up. But you had veterans like George Hill, who had been in playoff experiences before, who stepped up for the Milwaukee Bucks and kept them in the game. But fortunately, the Toronto Raptors were able to come out. So it really comes down to the fundamentals, and everything you've experienced, your bumps, your bruises along the way, set you up to be successful going forward when it comes down to a serious game. Now, we're talking sports. We can also talk about life. All the things you've gone through that you wanted to achieve and you fell short and it just didn't happen for you are things that set you up, that make you what we call a veteran in sports, that you're going to be the go-to person in the future. That's why you have to stay focused on that goal that you have and not be deterred. I'll jump really quick to golf. It was a great weekend in golf. Somewhat of a new face to many, Brad Koepka on the scene. He had a tough struggle to get to the point he was. He was defending his PGA title. He won $11 million just in that weekend. But one thing that was interesting about him, if you looked at his phone and how well he was doing throughout the weekend, he didn't have all these former titles that he won on his phone screensaver. He had one image of when he was actually not included in the list of the 20 most dominant players in their sport. ESPN did a list a few years ago about who were the 20 most dominant players in each respective sport, and he wasn't included. And that ended up being his motivation. So the question becomes, folks, on this Monday mentality, what's your motivation? What's motivating you? Sometimes we have to be motivated by being slighted. Sometimes we have to be motivated by people saying no. Sometimes we have to be motivated by people not believing in us. And whatever that motivation can be, you can use that fuel to go forward. So I use Brad Koepka as a great example of someone who they slept on, they didn't really believe in, and he went on and did some great things. Now, he had a very interesting story. If you're going to become a professional golf player, you have to go through something called Q school, qualifying school. And he didn't even make it through there. He had to go a different route to get to where he was going to be. So sometimes many of us have these dreams and aspirations, and we jump out in front. We want to do it, and we get boom, hit in the jaw. We get knocked out. What did Mike Tyson, the great philosopher, say? He said, everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth. I think in our particular lives, we have a plan of these things that we want to do and accomplish. We sit down, we write it out, we talk about it. But when something comes up and it doesn't happen, we get symbolically hit in the mouth, or literally hit in the mouth, we fold. We fold. Jay Stone, who's down with Nipsey Hussle, has a new song out, and it starts off and it's very powerful. It reminds me of Scarface's song Smile when Tupac passed away. He said, either you're going to fold or step up to the plate. There's no other way around it. There's no other space to be in. Either you're going to fold or step up to the plate. Either you're going to be a will breaker or you're going to have an unbreakable will. And I think you have to take on that mentality that if it's something you care about and you want, you're going to keep pushing. How many times we let so many outside influences influence us or what we want our future to be. And because we want to make people comfortable, because we don't want to have friction, we'll acquiesce to that, meaning we'll just say, okay, I'll go with that. But inside, you're having this internal struggle because that's not what you want to do. Anything you want to achieve that's worth anything is going to be a challenge. Anything you want to achieve that's worth something is going to be a hard way to go. I'm going to quote someone you probably are surprised I'm going to quote is, what you say, Marcus, everybody got a plan if you get hit in the mouth. I got to like that, no doubt. That's the real. But Antonin Scalia, former Supreme Court Justice, was Chief Justice at one point. No, he wasn't ever Chief Justice, but he was someone I followed when I was back in law school because of his influence in the Supreme Court. And he said something very simple but very powerful, and I want to talk about that as I try to wrap this up. He said, nothing is easy. What do you mean, Lindsay? Yeah, we know that nothing is easy. Well, what is the numerical representation of nothing? The numerical representation of nothing will be 0. My daughter, who's 7 tomorrow, she gets that. Everyone gets that. Nothing equals 0. So what is the reverse of that? What is the opposite? What is the opposite of nothing? The opposite of nothing is something. So I would imagine that something equals a really big number. If nothing equals 0, then something equals something big. Let's call it 100. My point being is, if you're not going to achieve anything, it's not going to take anything out of you. If you're not going to achieve anything worth noting, you're not going to have to come out of your comfort zone. If you're not going to do something great in life, with your life, and in the life of your family and your loved ones, no sweat. It won't cost you anything at all. But the reverse is, if you want to achieve something, if you want to do something great, if you have this vision that was in your mind that you want to come and make it a reality, there's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a hard way to go. Life is challenging no matter what. I once said you might as well be challenged doing what you want to do. That doesn't mean you disrespect your relationship. That doesn't mean you disrespect people. I'm saying this in regard to doing anything in life that's not going to have a negative impact on other people's lives. But we all have these dreams, goals, aspirations. Dreams, goals, aspirations that we want to achieve inside. And we look to the person to our left sometimes and the person to our right, and we say, well, because they may not like it, or it may make them uncomfortable, then I'm not going to pursue it. Well, I'll tell you what, several years ago, I stepped out and started SPS. I want to thank everybody for supporting me along the way. I got some great things I'm going to announce later in the week about some things we're going to be doing with some other great brands, helping people in sports and life. But it all was my personal motivation. And at times I had people to direct me other way and say that wasn't going to be it. But I'm so happy. That's why I can get up on Monday excited. I talked last week about Monday being one of the toughest days of the week, the days that so many people have heart attacks and health issues because they hate their life and what they're doing. Well, I'll tell you what, on this Monday, I'm excited to say I love what the next few days and weeks and years are going to bring. That is because a long time ago, I committed to what I wanted to do for myself. And it's very fulfilling, more fulfilling than all the money I ever made when I was in corporate America, very fulfilling than all the things I've ever done. And I'm so happy to be able to share a message to you guys on a Monday morning. We're getting close to the 10-minute mark. I like to stay within that time. I want to thank everyone for listening, but I'll do a quick recap. With the Warriors, they showed me they're will breakers. They broke the will, I believe, of the Portland Trailblazers, and we're going to see that tonight. But are you a will breaker, or do you have an unbreakable will? The Raptors, they had to grind it out. Sometimes you got to grind it out for that championship. And last, Brad, Koepka, everyone's watching, playing golf this weekend. He's saying you can hate me now. He was motivated by his haters. And yes, that's a reality. So find your motivation on this Monday. Stay motivated going forward. Break your week down into days, maybe in the morning, in the afternoon, what you have to achieve to be successful. Check those things off your list, whether they're big or small, and continue to have that motivation going forward and that momentum. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen. If you think this message is beneficial to others, please share it. I also want to be able to promote my YouTube channel, Sports Psych Solutions. We're going to have some great content there, and I'm going to be sharing some other things in the future with the Drive with Jack on Spotlight Radio, and we'll talk about that. So with that, great Monday, great week, and see you guys soon. Thank you.